Welcome to qnawire.
We have triangle ABC. I'm not going to try to draw it to scale at all, just a reference triangle. And we knew that side A was 20, that's opposite angle A, side B was 25, opposite angle B, and side C was 22, opposite angle C. To solve the triangle, we would need to find the measure of angle A, the measure of angle B, and the measure of angle C. We could use the law of cosines in order to find, for instance, angle A. The law of cosine states that the side squared is equal to the other two sides, which would be 22 and 25 squared, minus 2 times the other two sides, times the cosine of the angle you want to find. So if we're going to start this equation with 20, we end it with that opposite angle A. So we have to solve for this variable. The best way I have found to do this is just to write out what I'm going to put into the calculator. I'm going to subtract the 22 squared to both sides. I'm going to subtract the 25 squared and then divide, because that's all being multiplied. Divide the negative 2 times 22 times 25. And then we're just equal to the cosine of A at this point. This is a lot going on in a calculator, but if you're using the decimals calculator, it can handle it pretty easily. Your last step will be to inverse cosine all of this. Now, that would be a lot to handle in a handheld graphing calculator, but you could, by adding parentheses in the denominator, achieve this. And so I would recommend whatever calculator you're used to using, that you try it out in it. Again, if it's decimals, not a problem. Just make sure that it's in degree mode. And then we have the inverse cosine of 20 squared minus 22 squared minus 25 squared I actually started putting that in incorrectly here. I'm just going to start that again. As I said, it can be handled easily. It can. You just need a first set here. So again, we said 20 squared minus 22 squared minus 25 squared. And then in the denominator there, we've got negative 2 times 22 times 25. And we would say you're probably safe to round to the nearest degree. A lot of people will just say round your angles to the nearest degree, but if it's to the 10th, I'd say 49.9. I'm just going to go ahead and say angle A is about 50 degrees. Angle B, we can now use the law of sines. We can say something like the sine of angle A over side A is equal to, I'm going to go for angle C now. Sine C over side C, which is 22. Cross multiply the 22, and then inverse sine, and you've got angle C solved for. So the inverse sine of 22 sine 50 over 20. And we get 57.4, I'll say about 57 degrees. Again, you might need to adjust these if you need to be more specific. You just didn't state what you need to be rounding to. So you might need to go to the tenths or hundredths. Your last step will be to subtract from 180. So in our case, 180 minus 57 minus 50 is 73 degrees for angle C. Hope that was helpful. Good luck.